Hello, Power Up Nation. I'm Pat Council, and I want to talk about 5 ways to finish March goals strong. Now, before we get into the 5 things that you can do to finish March strong, I want to say I'm probably going to end up giving you more than 5 things that you can do that will not only inspire you, but allow you to bring some order to the direction that you've decided to go in for 2025. Also, there is a podcast episode. I had decided not to put that podcast episode up because we missed the February 28th deadline or 27th deadline. And however, the information is good. So I decided to go ahead and put that episode up. So there's an episode called How to Use Disappointments to Succeed. I think you're going to find some great insights in that as well. And I think you'll appreciate that information because of everything that we have going on, not just in the USA, but also in different parts of the country. So we have a lot of listeners throughout the world listening to this podcast. So I think you'll get some insights as well as some inspiration and a little bit of guidance that will help you stay on track such that you can continue to thrive in 2025. Okay, so with that being said, let's get into the 5 ways to finish March goals strong. And as I said, I'm probably going to give you some extras. I'm into extras this year, so giving extra. But let's get into it. First of all, I decided to do a podcast on the 5 ways to finish March goals strong because I took a look at my own goals. And I've had a lot going on this year. It's amazing. Whenever I set really just large goals, just much larger, and I do it every year. So you think I'd be used to it by now. It seems as though every time I set these huge goals, then something will happen that will try and knock me off my game, that will try and interfere with my focus, that perhaps will even make me second guess the goals that I've set and make me wonder, but I know better. I know how important it is to stay focused. I know how important it is to believe in the goals that I've set. But just because you know it, that does not mean you don't have to do some things to regroup and put yourself, let's say, back on track by focusing and really harnessing your energy and sending it in the right direction. So with that being said, the first thing that I want to talk about, and these are going to be 5 things that start with the letter R. So lately I've been into these alphabets that have been coming up in my mind, like connection, collaboration, and that kind of thing. Those are my C's. I have some D's as well. But today we're going to do with the words that start with the letter R. So the first one is to remind. So you have to remind yourself that you have more than enough time to bring in results. So that means you want to stay focused. Granted, we're going towards the end of March pretty quickly here. So you have about 10 days, maybe less. But still, you want to stay focused on the desired outcome only. You don't want to look at, oh no, and give up. And I've seen people do that. And years ago, before I learned better, I'm kind of an optimist, believing that no matter what happens, you have to keep going. And years ago, I remember there was an event that was supposed to take place and it didn't quite pan out the way I had hoped. And I can remember saying, well, that's it. I'm not going to try to make it work. And when I look back on that, a few days later, I look back and I started to wish I had done something different. And ever since then, I've said to myself, you know what? I'm never going to quit or give up till the buzzer sounds. I'm going to exhaust every avenue. And it's every avenue that I know, but also I'm going to reach out to some of the other people that I know and tap into some of their avenues. What is it? Can they help? This is the beautiful part about making a connection, being a part of a community. And that's why at Power Up Nation, we are setting the tone, or we've already done that, for a platform for people to kind of hang out with us, to join us. Because you know what? We can all learn from one another. We can grow together. In spite of everything that's going on now, you know what? There's always strength in numbers. There's always going to be strength when you have a certain number of people that are focused on a good outcome and going in a certain direction. Now, I'm not saying there are a lot of bad things going on. I'm just saying that in the midst of when chaos pops up, it may seem like a bad thing, but sometimes we need to go through chaos to get to order. But nevertheless, when chaos pops up, it does not feel good. So when we all come together and decide, okay, we're going to be there for each other, be an inspiration to one another, share and help each other, then that journey is a lot easier. So we are putting some things, or have put some things in place, and you'll hear more about that on another podcast. But let's get back to these R's. The first one is remind. Remind yourself, as I said, that you have more than enough time to bring in results. So stay focused on the desired outcome only. Number 2 is refine. So you want to take a day to review and improve your plan. And you say, wait a minute, I'm almost at the end of the month. This is the end of the first quarter. And there's no way I can reach all these goals that I've set. And if you're in business, there's no way, that I'm on track for my money goals. Or in your personal life, there's no way I'm on track for my fitness goals. Listen, stop looking at what isn't and look at your plan with a different eye. But you have to be honest about the plan. Ask yourself, hey, what's working? So that's the first thing. And then ask yourself, what's not working? And write those things down. So when you write down what's working versus what's not working, then you know, okay, can I solve some of the things that aren't working? And also, are some of the things that aren't working, are they relevant to the business? Are they relevant to my life? Are they relevant to me achieving the goals that I've set? So these are some of the questions that you want to ask yourself as you come up with answers. So just take a day and you say, wait a minute, we're at the end of the month. I've got to keep working. Sometimes it's good to step back, breathe, and regroup. Okay. And then you get back out there and you'll go even faster. Why? Because you're more focused now, as opposed to being scattered and all over the place because you're frantically working to make something happen. So sometimes it's good to just take a step back. Your energy is going to be more focused. You're going to be more excited about where you're headed because you have more, some new ideas and you have more clarity. So number 2 is refine. Take a day to review and improve your plan and ask yourself what's working and determine what's not working. Number 3, redesign. Now we're going to talk about this one a little bit. Redesign. So you want to ask yourself the question, what 1 to 3 steps will I take or will you take to implement new changes immediately? So remember, you refined the day before. You reviewed your plan. You determined what was working, what was not working. So now it's perhaps time to redesign. And we're not talking about, and you can actually redesign the whole plan if you want, but we're talking about making some quick changes that will allow you to get back in the game so that you can finish strong by the end of March. Now, while we're on the subject of redesigning, I was talking to someone yesterday and actually the day before. So I've talked to a few people because it dawned on me that things change, nothing stays the same. Our podcast is called Designing Your Life Today. And so it means in the present moment, you have to pay attention to the designs that you set for your life, whatever designs you created, whatever that blueprint is. But here's the other thing. Sometimes that blueprint needs to be changed. You need to adjust. You need to do something different. Sometimes for a little while, you have to do some things that you may not want to do. Now we're talking about things that are legal, that are above board, and things that will take you towards getting the outcome that you're looking for and getting what you need so that you can serve your purpose full out and be excited about your life. So there's a time when you have to redesign. So what 1 to 3 steps will you take to implement new changes immediately? And you're going to hear more about redesigning your life, because I think it's important that we do take a step back and we look at some things. Granted, we're going into the end of the first quarter, and that's fine. But hey, when you have to redesign, you redesign. If you think about your life, and although we're not houses, but it kind of reminds me of my real estate days. So if you think about your life like a house, at some point, all right, so you've had this body, you've had this mind, you've been on this path, a certain path for a certain length of time. It does not necessarily mean you have to change your purpose for being here, but you may have to add to that purpose. So sometimes we have more than one purpose, and we have a main purpose and then what I call sub purposes. And all of these come together that will allow us to go to just a higher level and to provide more that will not only benefit others, but that will benefit our own lives. So we'll be talking more about redesigning, not just to finish up strong in the last few days of a month. We're going to talk about overall redesigning. Number 4, rev up. So now that you've reminded yourself and you kind of solidified your focus and your clarity, you've refined your plan and you've redesigned it by saying, these are the new steps I'm going to take. Then now you have to rev up. That means you have to activate the right energy within you. We have to remember, it's important that we remember that we have the kind of energy that we need to carry out our purpose. But the object of the game is to use that energy to serve our purpose. And that means to serve others and sometimes and as well serve ourselves. Okay, because sometimes you can have things in your life or people in your life that will interfere with your energy, interfere with you going in the direction that you were designed to go into. So the object of the game is for you to take a step back, look at your plan and say, okay, I've got X number of days left before this quarter ends. And I'm going to decide that this is what I'm going to do. You guys do realize that making a clear, strong decision, that activates your energy and takes things to a whole nother level. And it activates the right energy. Why? Because you're going into this thing with clarity. You're going into a certain direction with focus. And when you make a decision, you've decided that nothing is going to stop you, that you are going to win, that you are going to get a stronger outcome. You see, it doesn't matter if you don't let's say meet the goal full on. What matters is that you activated the right energy. You went for it. You kept your focus. You gave your best, and you will get some results. You'll get more results. Now, the reason why I'm saying it like that is I don't know what each and every goal is that you guys have set. And I don't know where you are on that journey. So if you could have kind of goofed off for the first month or the second month and decided, I'm going to make this all happen. But I will say this, anything's possible. Okay. So I can't tell you where you're going to end up, but I can tell you that with the right energy, you activate the right energy. You have the right belief, that strong belief. You do what it takes, then you're going to get a great outcome. And yes, I have to throw in one of my scriptures here. It says, that all things are possible to him that believes. In other words, with God, all things are possible. Okay, so now I'm kind of taking a little bit from two scriptures. One comes from Mark 9th, 23rd chapter, which says, if you can believe, all things are possible to him who believes. And of course, then there's Matthew 19:26 that says, with man, things, this is impossible but with God, all things are possible. So that's Matthew 19:26. And I've started kind of giving you guys, and I'm going to do this whenever possible, because sometimes I'll get the opportunity to look these up before when I'm planning these podcasts, and there'll be times when a scripture will pop into my head, and I'll just put it out there, and I might not know the chapter, the book, the chapter, and the verse. However, I'm going to do my best to give you where you can find this in the Bible. Sometimes when I'm sharing information in my master classes or at certain events, and I put out a scripture, I find that people will either come up to me and say, okay, so where can I find this? And I end up having to look it up for them. So I'm going to do my best to kind of pinpoint where you guys can find this. And you can go and read it yourself, and it's going to really inspire you more, and it's going to ignite your spirit. So with that being said, you want to rev up and activate the right energy. And there are things that you can do to activate the right energy. In April, we have a lot of great things that are coming up that's going to, if you're interested in learning more about energy, or how to use your energy so that you can manifest your goals, so that you can build your magnificent life, so that you can build that magnificent, profitable business and get on track so that you can do these things. We're going to bring you some resources that will help you with that. And you guys, I'm going to say it not because I'm teaching it or one of the people, but I'm going to say, you don't want to miss it because it's going to be great. I have studied about energy and about kind of human nature, in order to learn a lot of things about myself and about my life and why am I here and these kinds of things. So as a result, I've been able to use this to really help a lot of people achieve their goals or get on that path, and with their business goals as well as their personal goals. And so everybody has a calling, everybody has a purpose. And so that is one of mine. So with that being said, just stay tuned. And if you're not on my email list, by all means, get on my email list. You can do that by going to designingyourlifetoday.com/power up today. Or you can click on the link in the show notes. It depends on what platform you're listening to this podcast on. You can click on the link in the show notes, and you can get on the list. So let's get to the fifth one. And well, before that, I want to say this. You really want to learn how to activate the right energy. You have no idea how amazing that can be. And here, and this is kind of like one of I have these different ideas and visions in my head. One of which I've talked about often. One is that if we all do what we came here to do, if everybody stepped into their calling, their God-given purpose, then our world would be so much better, because it would be like a puzzle that would all of a sudden come together to form this complete picture. And now we are all doing life with power, and we are all understanding that we are built by design to win. My other kind of vision is that if we all understood about energy, and that we are energy, and that what we do and what we say and how we are, and we know how to use that, and we start to use it better. It's practice, you guys, I promise you. And we learn how to use it better, then our world would be a lot better. A lot more people would think in terms of connection, but at the same time, understand that their independence, in terms of their independent power, and tap into that and what they're called to do, and they start doing it. And the next thing you know, they're taking that power and they're collaborating with someone else who's powerful. And before you know it, this world is just so much better, and everybody is so content. Nobody's complaining about having to go to work. Nobody's complaining about their life. And at least not constantly. So things are just so much better. All right, so let's get to the fifth one. So I talked about the fact that you want to remind yourself that you have more than enough time to bring in results and stay focused on the desired outcome only. Number two, refine. Take a day to review and improve your plan. Determine what's working, what's not working. Number three, redesign. You want to choose, ask yourself and write it down. What 1 to 3 steps will you take to implement new changes immediately? Number four, you want to rev up, activate the right energy. That's going to start to allow you to attract the things in your life that you desire. And it's going to bring you the right outcome. And here's number five, release. And release means you have to go, go, go. In other words, take massive focused action. Not just massive action, massive focused action. You could take massive action and just go full out with your energy and be excited and start doing all of these things, and it's not focused. And as a result, you're just going to be tired. Okay. Of course, the other side to that coin is if you take this is a theory, if you take this massive action and it's not focused, if it's big enough, I'm pretty sure you'll still get some results because you've activated the right energies, you have the right attitude, and you are just committed to making it happen. Now, I just want to share a few more and then we are going to wrap up, or something more. Here's another thing that you can do. If you want to finish strong, remember I said you have to kind of you want to refine everything and take that day and look at things. One of the things you want to pay attention to is your money making activity. For those of you that are in business, and take a look for the days that we have left in the month and measure that money making activity every single month. What are you doing? What are you not doing? What could you be doing? And put your attention on that and make the decision that you are going to do it, and measure it. The money making activity that you need to do, you want to measure it in terms of time as well. You want to go, okay, I'm going to put 1 hour into this money making activity, or 3 hours into it, because this is what it's going to take to move the needle. Don't put your energy into things that you can't do anything about. People are complaining so much, about politics and these things. And I get it. Sometimes it makes for good conversation and it can be funny. But at the end of the day, if you're not on track for achieving your goals, then perhaps you want to talk about that another day or put that to the side, unless you intend to do something about it. Finally, be honest about where you are when you take that day to refine. Be honest about where you are in terms of your thinking. Are you thinking you're going to win, or are you thinking you're not going to win? So be honest about that. Be honest about your emotions, your confidence, and be honest about if you're afraid. Listen, and if you are afraid, then you want to ask yourself the question, what is my fear saying to me that's stopping me from doing what I'm supposed to do? And then make the decision to go do it. Now, that's pretty much all I have for you guys, and I think this is enough. We're going to bring more to you. We've got some great things coming up in April. Remember, get on my email list. Go to designeryourlifetoday.com/power-up-today. I am now reactivating or getting back onto social media. So stay tuned for some things on social media, and we'll put all those links in the show notes for you guys. In the meantime, check out the podcast, How to Use Disappointment to Succeed, and make the decision that you are going to end this month strong. Don't quit until the buzzer sounds. Okay, that's a basketball analogy. I don't really watch basketball, but I've seen it, so I know that's how it kind of works. But with that being said, I want you guys to have an amazing day and do life with power.